Welcome, brave Aries soul. If you're hearing this right now, maybe you've already felt it, something quietly shifting in your life. A change that can no longer wait. A calling that rises from the deepest part of your spirit. You might not know exactly what lies ahead. You just know that everything familiar is starting to feel a little too small. Sometimes you ask yourself, why does my heart feel strange like this? Why does an ordinary day suddenly feel so heavy? But the truth is, that weight isn't fear, it's your soul beating louder, asking you to listen. It's the moment when the universe begins to move, when old energies start to loosen, making space for something new, something pure. So stay here with me for a while. Take a deep breath and let your heart open. Because what you're about to hear isn't just a story, it's a message from destiny itself. A sacred sign, waiting for you to notice it right here, in this very breath. Dear Aries, there are mornings when you wake up to the same room, the same street, the same familiar faces, yet something inside feels different. The air feels heavier, quieter. And deep within, there's a whisper saying, something is about to change forever. No one else hears it. No one else understands it except your heart. It isn't chaos. It isn't confusion. It's the calling of your soul, a quiet voice, powerful enough to make the entire universe pause, waiting for your answer. Inside you, a chapter has already closed. Even if you haven't said goodbye, the energy has spoken for you. Time itself is pushing you to the edge of a cliff, and on the other side lies a light you've never seen before. At that moment, the only thing you need to carry isn't luggage, it's faith. Maybe you've asked yourself, why now? Why must I leave when I still care, when I still have something to lose? Because, Aries, the soul never waits for us to be ready, only for us to be brave. God knows that if He doesn't shake the ground beneath your feet, you'll stay forever in the comfort of what's safe. Sometimes He must let the earth tremble, so you remember that you were born to move, not to stand still. The bridges behind you are burning not to punish you, but to light the way forward. That fire is not destruction, it's illumination. Each spark whispers, don't look back. What waits ahead is greater than everything you've lost. When we allow the past to leave, we teach our soul how to fly. I remember my own inner pilgrimages, the times I resisted that same calling. I clung to what was familiar, begged to keep what felt safe. But life, in its quiet mercy, opened another door, one I never thought I'd have the courage to walk through. And when I did, I realized every collapse had only folded itself neatly, creating space for something bigger, freer, truer to who I was meant to be. You too are standing at that threshold now, Aries. Don't try to stop the universe from changing your path sometimes. It knows far better than we do where we truly belong. Leaving is not betrayal. It is reverence, a sacred respect for your soul's evolution. When you let old doors close, you send a holy message to the cosmos. I trust. I'm ready to learn. I'm ready to live as my truest self. Take a slow, deep breath. Feel your heartbeat. Feel the ground beneath your feet. The world around you may look still, but energy is already moving. A gentle wind brushes past, not by accident, but as the first sign that the journey has begun. And in that stillness, you hear it. A faint echo in the distance, a journey calling you, a voyage with no return ticket, not to escape, but to return to the light that has been waiting all along. Now, close your eyes. Picture yourself standing before a gate of pure light, everything behind you fading into mist. In your hand, there's only one ticket, a one-way ticket called faith. Beyond it lies the unknown, and yet the place your heart has longed to return to. So you take a step, a quiet, steady step. The sound of fear disappears. Only the soft whisper of the universe remains. Go now, Aries. I will walk with you. And in that moment, the light begins to shift. A new curtain rises. You don't even realize it yet, but the story has already turned like a river, quietly bending into deeper, brighter waters, carrying you toward a destiny that is no longer random, but written just for you. Sometimes, change doesn't arrive with thunder. It comes softly like a strange breeze slipping through a familiar window. You look around, and something in the air feels different. The morning breath carries a deeper meaning. The scent of coffee feels quieter, and the sunlight on your hand suddenly feels too real, too clear. That's when the universe begins to speak in its most delicate language, the language of signs. Do you remember your dreams lately? Maybe you saw yourself somewhere else, lighter, freer. Not a specific place, but a feeling, as if your soul was practicing how to fly before it truly departs. The familiar faces blur. The relationships that once defined you begin to fade into echoes. Even the songs you love no longer sound the same. It's not that you've changed too fast, it's that your soul's frequency has begun to shift. Everything in life speaks its own language. When a chapter is about to close, the world around you starts to misalign. Conversations pause halfway. Messages go unanswered. The places that once felt like home start to feel too small. It's not that people have changed, it's that your energy has simply outgrown the old frame. The visible world is just a thin curtain. Behind it, everything is arranged with the precision of destiny. What looks like loss is often the universe's quiet way of making you lighter. Losing something isn't an ending. It's the sacred act of clearing space for a new meeting, a new beginning, a new light. When the familiar begins to drift away, our instinct is to hold tighter. But sometimes, letting go isn't giving up. It's the most courageous act of faith. Faith that what's leaving is only returning your space so you can breathe, grow, and live again. Someone once asked me, "How do you know what's a real sign and what's just coincidence?" I smiled. When your soul is ready, coincidences disappear. Everything becomes a message. The repeating numbers, a casual word, a stranger's glance, each one points to the same direction. It's time to begin. If a quiet part of you has been whispering that it's time, don't silence it. That's the voice of your life force, the place where fear dissolves, and the only thing left is the desire to return home to yourself. Sit still for a moment. Close your eyes. Listen. You'll hear it, the current of your life shifting, ever so gently, enough to make your heart vibrate like a string touched by the perfect note. And in that silence, you'll realize something powerful. You're not losing anything. You're being cleared for what's next. Every door that closes lets a beam of light escape through a new crack. Every goodbye already carries a hidden hello ahead. Maybe you can't see the destination yet, and that's all right. You don't need to see the whole path to know where to go. Sometimes, one ray of light at dawn is enough. Just like when morning breaks, you don't know what the day will bring, but you know the light has returned, and you are allowed to hope again. Life is clearing your path, trimming away what no longer belongs, like a gentle gardener pruning the old branches so the tree can grow. Every delay, every rejection, every unfinished meeting serves a higher purpose than you can imagine. It's the secret dance of the universe where every step back is only the rhythm before the leap forward. And once you see that, even sadness softens. You begin to thank your losses because they've taught you how to release, how to trust. You realize that true love isn't about holding on, but allowing everything to move in its own sacred flow. In that moment of gratitude, your energy changes. The field around you glows warmer, brighter. Everything begins to renew itself in its own time, and you, the one who thought you were losing, become the one who's receiving. A deep breath, a quiet pause, and a gentle smile. That's enough. The universe knows you've heard. And right then, silently, without fanfare, the next door begins to open. Not with noise, not with urgency, but with a softness, like the rhythm of your own breath guiding you forward into a brighter space, where the story has already begun to change color, and you, without even knowing, have stepped into a new light. Sometimes, in the quiet of the night, when every sound outside has faded and all that's left is the rhythm of your breath and the beating of your heart, you can hear two small voices speaking inside you. One whispers fear. What if I lose everything? The other, softer but stronger, asks, but what if this is the miracle I once prayed for? These two forces, fear and freedom, are not enemies. They are two hands pulling you in opposite directions of the same lesson. Fear is the part that wants to protect you from pain, from the unknown. Freedom is the part that knows you can't stay confined forever. The clash between them is sacred. It's the moment your soul is being forged. Like fire meeting water, steam rises not to destroy, but to purify. When fear and courage touch, truth is born. Fear says, don't go, stay. At least here, we know what to expect. But freedom smiles and replies, if we never move, how will we ever know we could fly? And in that moment, your heart trembles not from weakness, but because it's expanding. Every evolving soul must pass through this threshold. No one is exempt. When you step into new territory, it's not just the world around you that changes. Your beliefs, your emotions, your memories, even your sense of self are tested. What you once called truth begins to shake. You'll feel torn. Part of you wants to hold on, and part of you longs to be free. It's a space between two worlds, one closing, one opening. And right there, at the point of collision, the light begins to appear. This battle inside you, dear Aries, is not a sign of failure. It's proof that your soul is growing. Those who have never awakened will never feel this tension. Only when awareness opens can you see both sides, fear and love, holding and releasing, old and new. And then, you learn not to choose one, but to let both merge into harmony. When you stop running from fear and dare to look it in the eye, you'll see what hides behind its mask, a longing to be safe. Tell your fear, I understand, but I'm still going. That is the act of a soul that has begun to heal. The world doesn't ask you to be strong right away. It only asks you to be honest. Let yourself tremble and still take the step. Because courage isn't the absence of fear, it's moving forward while still afraid. The people around you may not understand. They might try to hold you back because they see in you the part of themselves that never dared to move. They'll call it reckless, foolish, impulsive. But the truth is they fear your freedom because it reminds them that they, too, could be free if only they were brave enough. Don't argue, don't explain. Your silence will be the loudest prayer. Every awakening soul must learn this sacred lesson: to walk quietly, letting your footsteps blend with the breath of the universe. When you leave, you're not breaking anything. You're simply stepping away from frequencies that no longer resonate. The universe never takes anything from you. It only takes you out of what no longer belongs to you. Everything collapsing is merely bowing out to make space for something new. When a door closes, it's not rejection, it's redirection. A divine reminder that you deserve a bigger, brighter room where your soul can finally breathe. Picture this: a quiet afternoon. You're standing between two paths. Behind you, the familiar. Ahead, the unknown light. A gentle breeze passes, carrying the scent of freedom, the fragrance of things that have not yet happened. And you realize, what's truly frightening isn't stepping forward. It's staying still. One deep breath, one last look, one small step. That's all it takes. And when that step lands quiet, but certain, the air around you changes tone. You may not notice right away, but something inside begins to shift, flowing like water that's finally found its path. Tiny sparks of light slip through your fingers, touch your skin, and sink into your heartbeat. And there, where silence turns into hope, a new chapter is waiting for you to enter, softly, gracefully, without anyone realizing you've just stepped into another layer of your journey. Not everyone realizes soon enough that some steps in life aren't meant to be an escape, but a return. A return to yourself, to the raw, original self that got buried under all the years of trying to please others. Maybe for so long, you've tried to keep the peace by staying silent, chosen to bend instead of saying no. You've done everything you could just to keep others comfortable. But true peace can never be built on self-denial. It only begins the moment you dare to stand up, not to fight anyone, but to protect that quiet part of your soul that still whispers your name every night. The path you're walking isn't a frantic escape. It's a graduation ceremony of consciousness. When the soul matures, it must leave its old school, the one that taught lessons of endurance, sacrifice, and the fear of losing love. And like every farewell, it comes with tears, hesitation, and eyes that no longer understand you. But know this, those who truly love you will learn to respect the new light you've chosen to follow. I once met a woman in her 50s. She told me she had spent her whole life fulfilling her roles: mother, wife, daughter-in-law. Then one day, when her children had grown, she looked in the mirror and realized the fire in her eyes was gone. "I forgot what my own voice sounds like," she said softly. So she decided to stop. She began walking every morning, writing a few lines for herself, planting again the garden behind her house. A few months later, that garden bloomed. When I asked what had changed, she smiled gently. "It wasn't the garden, it was me. I stopped living so others could feel happy and started living to thank my own breath." That story isn't only hers. It's yours, it's mine. It's for anyone who's ever traded themselves for a false sense of peace. Each time we stop living to please the world, we begin living our soul's true mission. To serve life doesn't mean to drain yourself empty. True service is giving from a place that's already full, not from where you've run dry. When you are happy, you become living proof that love doesn't have to hurt. But to reach that place, you must climb a steep mountain, the mountain of guilt and fear. You'll feel lost, because for the first time, you're placing yourself on the altar of compassion. You'll be questioned. Why are you changing? Why are you being selfish? But Aries, know this. Sometimes, conscious selfishness is the deepest form of kindness. Because only when you save yourself, you stop pulling others into your storm. This world needs people who dare to live truthfully. It needs you. It needs the light of a soul that no longer wears a mask. When you choose honesty with your feelings, you teach others they're allowed to be honest too. When you stop enduring, you open a doorway for others to step out of the pattern of being strong all the time. The way you heal becomes the path that others can follow toward their own light. The greatest lesson of the soul isn't in enduring pain, it's in transforming pain into awareness. Every tear, every scar, is sacred proof that you didn't give up on yourself. And one day, when you look back, you'll smile and realize every time you thought you were breaking, you were only being shaped into someone stronger than ever. Allow yourself to be soft again, to forgive, to release what no longer matches your frequency. Forgiveness isn't approval, it's the act of untying the rope that binds two souls, so both can be free. Forgiveness is a whisper that says, "I choose peace over pain," and that is the greatest gift you can ever give yourself. Take a slow, deep breath. Feel your heartbeat settle. You'll notice your chest opening wider like a window letting in the first light of morning. The world outside may still be loud, but within you, a quiet meadow begins to bloom green and alive after the rain. And from that stillness you'll hear something faint, something gentle, but strong enough to make your heart tremble softly, a new signal calling you forward. Like the footsteps of the universe approaching, inviting you deeper into faith and divine protection, toward a light that's beginning to reveal the next path, one you've never seen before, but that's always been waiting just for you. When a great journey is about to begin, the universe always leaves the gentlest of signs. No noise, no brilliance, just a series of subtle coincidences, so precise that your heart skips a beat. A phone call at the perfect time, a brief encounter, a sudden urge to look back over your shoulder. Each seems small, almost trivial, but when you place them side by side, they form a complete picture, a quiet masterpiece the universe has been painting just for you. This moment hasn't come too soon or too late. It's arriving exactly when you've grown enough to see that nothing from before was ever truly lost. It was all being rearranged so you could finally see your real path. Everything in this cosmos has its own sacred rhythm. When a door opens, it's not because you begged for it, it's because you finally found the courage to walk through. Many people think divine protection means being kept safe from harm, but it's far deeper than that. True protection is when the universe lets you walk into the dark so you can learn how to light your own way. It's when you feel lost, so you can remember that your heart still knows the way home. And sometimes, it's when everything you depended on falls apart, only to show you that the one thing you can always rely on is your own inner faith. In the coming days, you might notice a sign, not a miracle, just a clear feeling you can't ignore. When it happens, pause for a moment. Don't rush to react. Let your intuition speak before your mind does. And when that feeling whispers, "It's time," take the step even if it's a small one. God never asks you to leap into chaos. He only asks you to step into the light you've never quite believed you deserved. That light isn't far away. It lives in your hands, in your voice, in every breath you take. Once you begin to trust, the path appears, each stone under your feet glowing softly, as if awakened by the beat of your heart. When you release, you lose nothing. You simply return what no longer belongs to you. Every item you give away, every worry you let go, every memory you forgive, all of it creates space for what is meant to come next. Through that practice, you're training the strongest muscle of the soul, trust. If you need a ritual, start within the next 48 hours. It doesn't have to be grand. Just do something simple you've been putting off. Clean out an old drawer. Write a note of gratitude. Make the phone call you've been afraid to make. Each act is a declaration to the universe. I'm ready. As you let go, the current of life begins to flow more smoothly. The random starts to form patterns. People, opportunities, new doors begin to appear softly, effortlessly, as if they were always there, simply waiting for you to nod in agreement. Remember, the universe never sends you into anything you're not strong enough to walk through. You are being protected not by walls, but by light. The light of intuition, of faith, of love that life keeps offering you, even when you doubt yourself. When you start believing you are protected, your heart softens. You stop fighting so hard. You realize there are no wrong turns, only the necessary detours that bring you back to yourself in a fuller, wiser form. And one morning, you'll wake up and notice the sky looks the same, yet the light feels different. Not brighter, but deeper, softer, warmer. You'll smile, without knowing why. That's the moment the universe smiles back and whispers, "You heard the call." And in that quiet moment, everything inside you begins to move. The current of grace flows through every cell, every thought, every memory. A calm peace spreads as if an unseen hand has been gently placed on your shoulder, steady and kind. The story continues, and you, the one listening now, will feel yourself stepping into a higher light, where the meaning behind every change begins to unfold, where your soul is finally called by name, in the language of light and faith. Not everyone understands that what's happening around us isn't always random. Sometimes it's a migration of the soul, silent, sacred, and deeply destined. Every step you take, every event that unfolds, every person who enters or leaves your life, all of it is part of a divine movement, one that leads you away from an old existence and into the realm of deeper purpose, where life is no longer about surviving, but about meaning. The one-way ticket in your hand isn't a punishment from fate. It's an invitation, a call toward wholeness, authenticity, and peace. It's what you've been searching for all your life, without knowing how to touch it. When the universe takes something away, it's never to leave you empty. It's clearing the space so that something new, something aligned can enter. Sometimes that something is love. Sometimes it's opportunity. And sometimes it's simply the return to your truest, untouched self. There will come a moment when you look back and realize every heartbreak that once crushed you was in fact your greatest teacher. Each wound, each betrayal, Each time you felt abandoned, none of it came to destroy you. It came to shape you, to give your heart the strength to stay open without turning to stone, the sensitivity to feel deeply without breaking. Without those falls, you might never have discovered how gracefully you can rise. Imagine a sculptor carefully carving a raw stone. Every strike, every chip that flies off, is part of the creation. It hurts, but it's necessary. Your wounds work the same way. Every time you feel like you're breaking, you're actually being refined, shaped into a clearer reflection of light. The universe never destroys what's meaningless. It only dismantles what's too small for your soul to grow inside. And one day, you'll begin to meet people who vibrate at the same frequency. Not because you searched for them, but because your energy changed, and now you naturally attract those who match your light. They won't come to teach or to save you. They'll come to walk beside you, to share a stretch of the road, warm, calm, and genuine. These are connections without demand, without cages, only presence. There, you'll realize that the home you've been seeking was never a place. It's an energy, the feeling of resting safely inside yourself. When you finally move beyond fear, when you stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and begin asking, "What is it teaching me?" everything starts to make sense. Because in this universe, nothing truly disappears. Everything transforms. Yesterday's ending is only today's opening scene. And in that awakening, you discover a quiet truth. Every breaking was, in fact, an act of love. If the shell doesn't crack, how can the seed grow? If the night doesn't fall, how could we ever recognize the dawn? What we call loss is often the birth of something new, a version of you that has existed in your soul's map all along, just waiting for the right time to awaken. No one grows without pain, but pain is what opens the heart, what teaches compassion for the world. And when you learn to look at suffering with gratitude, you begin to see that even in darkness, there are seeds of light. Maybe right now, you're sitting alone in a quiet room, listening to these words, feeling a strange warmth in your chest. It isn't joy, and it isn't sorrow. It's recognition, the moment your soul nods in agreement. Because deep down, you know that everything, the struggles, the loneliness, the waiting has led you here, to this very breath, to this instant where you're learning to see everything through the eyes of faith. Let your breathing slow. Feel your heartbeat. Feel life still flowing gently within you. You are not abandoned. You are being rearranged, and within that quiet rearranging, a new light begins to flicker, the light of rebirth, the dawn that's about to rise for you. Like a river after the rain, clearer, deeper, reflecting the entire sky. Everything is coming into focus, and you, dear Aries, are slowly stepping into a higher layer of life where the old has been transmuted, and renewal waits at the end of the road, soft as the breath of the very first morning. One day, when the first light of dawn slips through your window, you'll realize something within you has changed. No more trembling like before, no more looking back, counting what was lost. Before you now stands a radiant gate where memory rests behind you and destiny opens its arms ahead. You stand there, in the space between two worlds, hearing your own breath, feeling your heartbeat sync with the rhythm of the universe. The sun is rising not to erase the past, but to illuminate the person you've become through every season of breaking and becoming. Each step feels lighter now, because you've finally set down what was never meant to be carried. Each breath feels deeper, because you no longer have to pretend to be strong. You've learned to trust what's unknown, to smile at what's gone. This one-way journey is no longer an escape, it's a return to your essence, to your light, to the home your heart has been longing for. Take another deep breath, deep enough to feel life flowing again through your veins. You feel lighter, freer, truer. And in that still moment, you understand what matters most isn't going back, but arriving at where you truly belong. Every loss, every tear, every stumble, each was an essential piece of the path that led you here. The one-way road isn't lonely, because it leads you home, not to a place, but to your own heart. There is no judgment there, no fear, only the calm of a soul that has finally learned to love itself for no reason at all. You've come far enough to see that real peace isn't found in who walks beside you, but in the faith that lets you keep walking even when you walk alone. Sometimes, rebirth doesn't roar. It happens quietly in the stillness of a morning, in eyes that no longer worry, in the sigh that comes when you realize you don't have to fight the past anymore. Rebirth is looking into the mirror and no longer seeing pain, only a soul washed clean by forgiveness. It's the moment you can finally say thank you, even to what once hurt you. And then, you smile. A slow, small smile, but enough to change the light in the room. You realize you haven't just survived everything you've begun to live through it, with it, because of it. Every crack in your heart now reflects light like crystal. From the ashes of what was, you rise like a lotus opening in clear water. Thank you, brave Aries soul, for believing, for walking, for never giving up. Thank you for daring to take the road few choose, for leaving the familiar behind to find your way back to yourself. May you always have the strength to let go without fear, the tenderness to begin again when life changes its course, and the stillness to hear God's whisper in the wind. Now, my child, you are ready. If this message has touched you, share your story. Because sometimes, your words, your light can be the lantern that guides another soul through their own darkness, back home, just as you once found your way. And perhaps, because of you, someone out there will stand up, take one deep breath, and begin again, lighter, freer, truer,